Today's presentation is titled Examining Manhood and the Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien. The Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien explores the concept of manhood through the lens of American soldiers in the Vietnam War. O'Brien starts by talking about all the physical/tangible stuff the soldiers carried and how hard it was for them to do so. He then delves into the psychological burdens carried by soldiers and how these burdens were even harder to carry than the physical ones. Traditional masculinity. Traditional masculinity has always been associated with strength, roughness, assertiveness, and dominance, often ignoring the discouraging emotional vulnerability and encouraging the suppression of feelings like fear, sadness, or uncertainty. This concept of masculinity has always been pushed and forced upon boys turning into men, which is, by the way, dehumanizing. It takes all the human aspect of the boy turning into a man. It just makes him a brute. The author's intentions were very clear in this chapter. He wanted to depict manhood as complex and not as simple as traditional masculinity make it seem. He emphasized the emotional burdens and vulnerabilities faced by soldiers. For instance, when the author states they carried all the emotional baggage of men who might die, he illustrates the profound psychological weight carried by soldiers. Similarly, the quote, they carried the soldiers' greatest fear, which was the fear of blushing, captures the soldier's anxiety about displaying vulnerability or fear, as it was seen as a sign of weakness. Examples of this is their reaction to whenever someone dies or is dead. Everyone cracks jokes and laughs or says something off-putting, even though every single one of them was scared to shit. That was their way to ignore the reality of things and suppress any feelings that they might have. The chapter doesn't really suggest or offer any new ideas of manhood. However, it challenges the traditional way of thinking. It shows that it is normal for men to have feelings, to fear, to love, to be sad, to be happy. In this writing, O'Brien also challenges the notion that strength lies solely in physical prowess or how much weight they can carry. Through the soldiers, he shows the importance of mental strength and health. The Vietnam War era was a weird one, especially for men and manhood, and for wars in general. People have had enough. We cannot blame them, they just came out of the Second World War, and everyone saw the toll the war had on the men physically, but most importantly, mentally. I think that everyone knows about the 50s man memes, where they would literally abuse and beat their wives for any reason they found. It was that bad. The anti-war movement and evolving social norms during the Vietnam War era made people reassess traditional gender roles and expectations. The feminist movement and the civil rights activism movements challenged conventional notions of masculinity. The hippie movement also had a role to play, as people, especially men, shifted to peace, love, and nonviolence. This cultural shift influenced Tim O'Brien to write this piece of art. In conclusion, Tim O'Brien offers a nuanced portrayal of manhood, challenging traditional stereotypes and emphasizing the importance of mental strength. Through the soldiers' experiences in the Vietnam War, O'Brien explores the multifaceted nature of masculinity, showcasing that strength comes not only from physical prowess but also from emotional depth and strength. In other words, he humanized the soldiers even when they didn't even do that themselves, as they felt it was prohibited and a sign of weakness. The idea of manhood and masculinity having one and only one definition will be forever wrong. As we advance as a society, there will be always changes to our norms and views. I mean, just comparing the definition of manhood back in the 90s to now gives us a clear idea. Thank you.